Just, I guess before I start, I want to say what an amazing honor it's been to share an office for 3 months with these amazing people. If you maybe you want to mentor because you're generous, but actually like a really good reason to mentor is because these are amazing people and you should meet them. Right, okay, so I want to tell you tonight about what happened when I, Peter, a theoretical physicist, Porrick, another theoretical physicist, and Krishan, who's an engineer, began to think about communities and neighborhoods, the people who live in them, and the way that decisions are taken that affect the people who live in them every single day. So people just like you. Also your local councillors and the people that provide services to you, so support officers who work in your council. What have we made? We've made this. It's live now. You can use it. So what is it? We show you a list of things that are going on near you, issues that you might actually care about. For each one, to engage with it, it's just a single tap. You just vote up or down according to if you agree or think yes. And then we do some cool stuff. So it's just one tap to get involved. We then make your point for you to your local representatives. So we show the data that we generate to your local councillors. And then we get a closed loop. So in exchange for your one-tap vote, you actually get back a response from somebody who's meant to represent you on an issue that you've explicitly said that you care about. So that's it. It's live right now. There are like URLs around the room, and you should definitely start using it. But for the rest of my 5 minutes, I want to tell you a bit about what happens in the back end, because this is like where the really cool stuff is if you're a geek like the three of us. But before that, I just want to step back for a moment and think about what happens when you have something in your local area that you want to change. So is there anybody here who lives in a place where like there's nothing that they would change? It's perfect? Oh, okay, great. Maybe, like, do some of you know the names of your local councillors? A few, maybe? So maybe your first step would be to go to the council's website and look up the email address of your councillor, and then you might like go to your email client and write an email to them, and then you hit send. So this is like the first step, except it's not the first step because usually the email will go to your councillor's member support officer. They'll put the email into some system, and then they'll send another email to like the other council support officers. At this stage, there might be some suspicion that the message is maybe like politically motivated, and of course the civil service of the council can't really get involved in that kind of thing. So maybe this will go back and forth a few times. After that, your councillor's member support officer is going to email the councillor with all the information that they need to respond, and then your councillor is eventually going to send an email back to you, and all of this happens in the super snappy speed of 10 days. So, how does this scale? Like, what happens if there's more than one person who wants to contact the councillor? It's really messy. So this just isn't working, right? And councillors are spending an average of 28 hours a week on their part-time job. So we've made something different, and we've started with 3 sort of principles. So I'm going to show you what the principles are, and then I'm going to tell you how it works at the back end. The first thing is that it ought to be really simple to use. So we should take the barriers to taking part, the sort of the going to the website, the looking up the email address, and we should lower them all the way down to the ground down here. Well, it got loud just then. Probably went out the camera too. So we want to make it really, 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 really simple to take part. It's just one tap, and you can do it right now. And we also want to present people with content that they're actually interested in. We want to show you like local topics, things that are going on around you, whether your GP surgery is closing, like is the rubbish collected often enough, that kind of thing. We want to show you things that you're interested in, not like your particular politicians or the parties that they're from, or institutions like the council, things that people don't really care about. And finally, we want to give you something back in exchange for your opinion. So when you've done your one-tap voting, we want to give you something in exchange for that. And the thing we give you is a response from somebody who's meant to represent you on an issue that you've explicitly said that you care about. So what does the process look like? Creating a box, that's our social atom, is a matter of 2 steps. You just put in a statement that you might agree or disagree with, and you drag around the map to say where it is and hit submit. That's it. That's then visible to everybody else in your local area. So On the left is a box that somebody actually in my ward added to do with a GP surgery closing. And everybody else who lived there was able to see it and then say what they thought of it with just a single tap in our app. And then the next step, as far as you're concerned, is that you just get a response from your local councillor. You don't even need to know who that person is. You just get a response on the topic that you're interested in. So how does it look kind of systematically? Well, first up, you're interfacing with voXup, not some institution that you're disillusioned with. We take the data that we gather and we show it to everybody on equal terms. So, for example, your councillor and the council support officers are seeing exactly the same information. They can use that to have a discussion amongst themselves about the best way to reply to it. But actually, when the reply is sent, your councillor replies to the issue rather than the 50 different complaints that they've got coming through 10 different channels. So they reply once to the issue. And when that happens, we send an email to all of the people who voted on it. So that re-engages them with the app. So at the top here, you've got this really tight feedback loop, and all that's doing is generating data that we can give to the support officers at the council and your councillors. How does this scale? Really well. When we get more people using it, voXup gets better. You see? Worse, better. Worse, better. You didn't keep up there, did you? Okay, great. So what does it look like for your councillors and the council support officers? We do them a dashboard that gives them a really continuous sense of sentiment in a particular local area. So they can look at, for example, correlations between issues that people will vote on. They can see how sentiment changes when there's news, for example. And they can see the level or the priorities of what things people care about in a particular area. So we give them this really quick, snappy thing, and right at the top in the middle is a reply to this Vox button. When they hit send on that, it takes the time of one email, but they can actually contact maybe hundreds of people all at once. So that's what we've built, and it's live right now throughout the UK. All you need is a postcode. If you have a postcode, then you can use voXup. So we just sent out our first proposal last week to Camden Council, so hopefully they'll be using us to consult on making Tottenham Court Road two-way again. They want to consult a lot of people, and we need to test it. So I really want everybody here in this room to start using voXup. Have I said that already? Okay. So start using voXup. You can use it with our facetious demo day community right here, right now. It's kind of active and people are using it. We want to know what you think. Get sharing. Start using it in your communities. Thank you so much.